Good morning, gamers! Good morning! It is a wonderful morning here in the Surviving Bedrock world. Guys, I want to thank you so much for all of the feedback, and I really hope you're also enjoying that Minecraft Dungeons playlist that we're putting out. We will also be getting to the pumpkin pasture later today. We just finished the redstone mines, and boy, was it tough. I was all like, ugh. It was not easy, but we took care of it, we got it, and today we are going to get into a little bit more of the technical side of Minecraft and Surviving Bedrock. That's right, today we are talking about Redstone. Redstone, yes, yes. We are going to be going all over the different parts of Redstone, the different features, the different types, and how it all works, and we are also going to create a couple of farms. Yes, because we have reached the point where we need to have some materials produced for us en masse, even if we are not here. So let's take a closer look at some stuff. But first, I have a treat for you. I went mining and I put our Silk Touch pickaxe to the test. I ended up with almost 3.5 stacks of coal, 2.25 stacks of iron, a stack and a bit of redstone, a little bit of lapis, some more gold, but I had 25 diamond ore. Now I saved this for this morning just for you guys because we are going to fortune these diamonds. I'm going to show you why I was so eager to put fortune on a pickaxe. But before I do, I need to smelt this iron. And I thought today would be a great day to discuss a different type of furnace, because this much iron could take a while to smelt in these 3 furnaces. But we are going to create what is called a blast furnace. Let's go ahead and take this guy down. All you need to create a blast furnace is a furnace. You will need 5 iron ingots, which we have. You will also need 3 smooth stone, which you get from smelting regular stone in a furnace. So we got a blast furnace. Oh yeah, this is going to be almost twice as fast as a regular furnace. So let's go ahead and pop this guy down here. It takes regular fuel just like the other furnaces. It does not use more fuel. Well, let's put this in, and you see how fast this is moving. That is a lot faster than what it was before. And another good morning to you. As I said, I wanted to show you what it was to fortune diamond ore. This is the best way to get a large amount of diamonds. So we're going to lay these down out here on the ground. Okay, have you ever seen such a more beautiful sight than all of these diamonds laid out? Now I'm going to put some stuff in my inventory. I want you guys to guess. Remember, Fortune 3 has the opportunity to give us 3 diamonds out of each diamond block. It's not guaranteed, but it is possible to get up to 3 diamonds out of each diamond ore. So drop a comment below. I want you guys to tell me how many diamonds you think I'm going to get. Here we go. I'm pretty confident. I think, and I have not looked, I promise, I think we got a stack of diamonds out of that whole 25 diamond ore setup right there. That's how much I think. I think we got 64 diamonds. Let's check. Oh, we got 53 diamonds. That is awesome. I love it. Now, you could also use fortune on coal, redstone, and lapis. Today, we are discussing redstone. That is this stuff right here. This, as I said before, is basically Minecraft's version of electricity. The redstone dust, when placed on the ground, acts kind of like wire. But as you see right now, it has absolutely no power. So to power it, you need a power source of some kind. You could have a lever, a button, or a block of redstone, which you get by using a crafting table and putting 9 redstone dust and filling up the whole thing. So that gives you a block of redstone. So let's go ahead and come down here and we'll check these out. Now, a lever and a block of redstone. I'm going to show you something. You see that just lit up when I flipped that lever. It lit up. That is a constant power. It will remain powered until I turn the lever off. A button is a short pulse. It's on, it's off. There you go. So that's all you do. That's if you want to just pulse something. A note about buttons. Wood buttons actually create a longer pulse than stone buttons. Now, a block of redstone is also a constant power. It will power this redstone until it is moved or broken. And you can move these with pistons, which is something we will get into here shortly. Now, other things about redstone to note. The current of redstone will only travel for up to 15 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to show you this here real quick with this lever. See, it kind of gets a little dimmer as you go down. And it's still flashing here. You see it's kind of glowing. But if I put one here, it's not on at all. Once you reach 16, it will not work. So what you have to do at this point is you have to craft another redstone component that is known as a repeater. In a crafting table, you will want to use redstone torches and stone, which I've got quite a bit of here. And by the way, to get regular stone, you need silk touch or you smelt cobblestone in a furnace. So let's look at a redstone repeater real quick. Redstone repeaters. You need 2 torches, 1 redstone dust, and 3 stone blocks will give you a repeater. Now a repeater kind of does what it says. It repeats the signal. Now, no matter where you're at, you see how it kind of gets dimmer. The redstone current strength here is at 15, then 14 and 13 and so on. It's down here to 1, right here at the end. Now, if I place a repeater here, it only takes a current pulse strength of 1 to actually power a repeater. So then I can put another redstone dust and keep it going. This is how you keep redstone current going for an extra length of time, is adding a repeater. Now, the other thing a repeater can do is create a delay. See this little part here? If you left trigger on this, you will move the delay switch there from no delay, 1 tick, 2 tick, and 3 tick delay. And I might be able to best demonstrate this with a redstone lamp, which you get from crafting a block of glowstone in any interface. And then you need a crafting table to create a redstone lamp. And you get it from putting glowstone block in the middle and 4 redstone dust. This is a great light source. It's kind of neat if you want to go with a little bit of a modern build. But you see now the light is on. The light is off. Watch this. I'm going to flip the lever and you will not see the redstone lamp turn on right away. A little bit of a delay. This creates a delay. This is great when you see people like Mumbo Jumbo and Exumavoid doing piston doors, because you want some pistons to fire, but not all of them right away. Now, another source of redstone power is known as the redstone torch. See, if I place it here, it's powering that redstone current because it's touching this. But if I were to place it there, it's not going to power it. If I were to place it there, it's not going to power it. The thing about a redstone block, you cannot unpower a redstone block. It has to be moved or broken. As far as a redstone torch is considered, if you wanted to use it to turn it off, all you have to do is provide power to the block the redstone torch is on. See, I power the block, the redstone torch turns off. This is another way to kind of create vertical redstone, which is a little bit more advanced. We'll cover that at another time, but I wanted you guys to at least see what it does. It is a very useful thing. I will admit, in the beginning, I used redstone torches as a light source and found out that it was just a bad idea. Now, another thing you will often see crafted for redstone components is called a comparator. This is another reason we need quartz, but you want three stone, 3 torches, and 1 piece of quartz gives you a comparator. Now, a comparator is a great idea because it will read the contents of an inventory. Example, this chest. This chest has something in it. If I were to put this comparator here, it is outputting a redstone current. It will output a current based on how much is in there. You see, it is not enough stuff to go that far. So if we were to pop down our redstone lamp over here, it's not enough to turn that on. But if I add a couple things to it, it's eventually going to get filled up enough to where it will power. There it is. You see how it now powered that lamp. The comparator was detecting how much was in that chest, and it was outputting a strength signal equivalent to how much that chest was filled up. I am not the best when it comes to redstone. If you are looking for more advanced redstone tutorials, I would suggest turning to someone like Exumavoid or Mumbo Jumbo, because they are phenomenal when it comes to redstone and advanced stuff. Now, there are two more things I want to cover in today's little tutorial before we go look at our farms and how this can all be used to help us. The first thing is going to be called the observer. Now, to craft an observer, you need cobblestone, redstone dust, and quartz. You need 2 redstone dust, 1 piece of quartz, and 6 cobblestone. An observer is a fantastic block for detecting change to the block directly in front of it. Here's an example. Has this little face here. It will detect if any status change happens to the block in front of it, and it will output a quick pulse. Let me show you an example here. Redstone dust, 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 and a lamp. Now watch what's going to happen. That lamp is going to turn on when I do something in front of this observer. It turned on, then turned off. It sends a quick pulse signal. It does not stay constant, but it is a great way, and it just cycled again, to detect if something happens right in front of it. This is going to be very useful for crop farms such as sugarcane, since it grows straight up. We can use it when it reaches its highest point. This observer will see that, and then it will trigger a pulse to fire some pistons, which is another redstone component we are going to get into. The piston. A piston is made from using cobblestone, wood planks, and a piece of iron with a piece of redstone. Now, what a piston does is it will push and break a block that is right in front of it. Now, you'll see this extend and retract when I place something in front. Just did it right there. Now, what that'll do is, watch me do this. I'll place something in front of it. It pushed the block. Now, if you add slime balls to this, it will make a sticky piston where it will push it and retract it. But that is a neat way to move or break items. Now, the thing you can break is, say you had something in front of it, it broke the item that was in front of it. That's good for crops, or if you want to move something like blocks to make some kind of a door, you could do that too. Now, the last item we are going to get into today is technically not a redstone component, but it's used in most automatic farms, which we will need to talk about. And that is helping transport the items we get into a storage unit like a chest. That is called a hopper. Now, to make a hopper, first it needs to have an inventory. It needs a chest. And then it will need some iron going around it. 5 iron, 1 chest makes you 1 hopper. Now, the way to focus a hopper and aim it where you want, it will go and point into the block you look at. Example, right here, it's facing straight down. So since there's nothing for it to go into, like a chest or a barrel or anything, it would go into the hopper and stay there. It has an inventory of 5 slots. Now, if you face this hopper into a chest, like so, you see it turn. It would actually take whatever item I put in here, and it would put it into this chest. There you go. It just put my shovel in the chest. That is great for transporting items. And what we're going to do today, we are going to create 3 farms. I may record it and kind of time lapse it, but we are going to come over here. I've had a little bit of an idea for the lore of this world, since we seem to be living in a savanna area bordering a desert. I think over here, it would be great to have some kind of a nice oasis, because the desert growing crops is kind of odd, but in the lore of our world, we want this to be a little bit of an oasis. And I have it here for a reason. If you recall back when we first created this world, we set our simulation distance to 8 chunks. Now we're going to talk about why. We want to be able to stand in our house and this farm still be going. it'd still be working. Now that 8 chunks is how far away you can be from something before it unloads from the world and it no longer works until you get closer to it again. 1 chunk is a 16 by 16 block. This means the simulation distance is an 8 chunk radius. It's going to make it a big circle, an 8 chunk radius. So I cannot be more than 128 blocks from this farm, otherwise it will turn off. You see over here, we are less than that. I took the measurements this morning. We are just on the edge, so I can be over there and it will safely work. That way I can stand in my house, leave my Xbox turned on overnight, and it will still continue to gather sugarcane. It will still continue to gather melons and pumpkins. And we are going to use this area that I have marked out to create these farms. And I'll go over that detail here shortly. But I did put together a build chest for each one of these. We have pistons, observers, blocks to put the crops on, and we have rails and a mine cart so we can actually collect our drops, because we want to be able to collect them and put them into a chest down here. This is where we are going to put our collection mechanism right there. And then we're going to do it here and here. This will be pumpkins, this will be melons, and over yonder will be sugarcane. Now the melon and pumpkin is technically one large farm. It will be back to back and touching. The sugarcane is going to be by itself. Now I'm going to lay out a little bit of the design for you, and then I'll be right back to go over it, okay? Okay everybody, I'm back, and now we have a little bit of a basic footprint for our sugarcane farm. You see here how I've got 2 rows of 8 blocks long each. Now I am probably going to swap this out for grass because I like the way it'll look better instead of dirt. But you see here what we've got going on. Our collection mechanism. It will start here with a hopper minecart. Now to make a hopper minecart, you need to put a hopper and a minecart together, which is very simple. You can do that in any crafting interface. 1 hopper, 1 minecart equals 1 hopper minecart. Very, very simple. Now when you break these, you're going to get the hopper and minecart back separately. We are going to have our minecart travel along underneath here, make this turn, travel this way, bounce off this block, travel all the way back, and then end right here on top of a regular hopper, which feeds into another hopper into this chest. So anything that goes into this hopper minecart will go into this chest right here, as you can see. So that is the basic collection mechanism of this farm. Now I may in future double this farm up to where they can sit on top of each other, because this farm is stackable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the buckets of water and pistons placed, and I'm going to swap these out, like I said, for grass blocks because they're going to look a lot better. And I will be right back. Okay guys? Okay everybody, we got the water placed. Now I did want to caution you. When working with water, rails, and redstone, you have to be very careful. If I were to break one of these dirt or grass blocks, it would actually wash out all of my rails down there. And if water comes in contact with redstone, it washes it all away. So you have to make sure that the water is secure and do not break any of those blocks. This is where using different blocks to differentiate what they're for is very useful. I'm using the darker spruce planks to let people know and to let myself know, hey, there's water in there. Do not break those blocks unless you want to be in trouble. And I'm using these birch planks down here because to me, birch, a lighter color, is a good contrast for redstone. So I use it when it's touching anything to do with redstone, which the minecart track and everything is. So now we have to place pistons. And when placing pistons, they face you. This can be tricky sometimes when you want them to face up or down or towards you. But I don't want them to sit at the very bottom level because the sugarcane goes here, and I don't want to break the bottom piece of sugarcane. I want to break the second piece. That way the bottom will continue to grow as I need it to. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and place a row of birch planks over here, and then we're going to place the pistons on top of those like that. And the reason you want them on top of the birch is, again, is when you place the sugarcane in here, sugarcane will continue to grow as long as the bottom piece is left intact. But when it reaches that second part, that is where we want to break it. So the piston will break anything from the second and above. All we got to do is place all these pistons here. And then on top of those, we place the observer. So the observer will trigger the pistons when the sugarcane has reached the third block. Now, if you are just starting out and you are making this very early on, you don't have all the resources, I understand. So you might only want to place maybe 2 observers on each side, but since I've had some good successful mining trips, I'm going to go ahead and place an observer on every piston to make this as efficient as possible. And that means when any of this sugarcane reaches 3 high, it'll trigger all the pistons. Now when placing observers, they face away from you, which is the exact opposite of pistons. So what we have to do here is we have to kind of parkour or pillar our way up here and then crouch place the observer here so we make sure it goes there. Now we are going to want another row of birch planks right here. That is for the observer to power the pistons below. And what I mean by that, let me get my redstone out. My inventory just does not want to work with me today. When this detects a block update in front of it, like the sugarcane growing, it will send a pulse to this block, which will power the piston below it. And we are going to just go along and place that all along everything here. And then we are going to run a redstone trail all the way across. So that way all of those will be triggered at once. Now, since I have double stacked this farm, what I am going to do is I am going to run a redstone signal over here as well. That way the same will work over here. So we're going to go ahead and place all these pistons right yonder. We're going to use our little temporary dirt block to pillar up here. We're going to get our row of birch placed down here. And then we are going to finish placing the rest of our observers. We are going to power this block with a repeater, and we are going to get signal to travel from there down here. The 2 easiest ways to do this: bring a block over and just run some redstone wire down here. That is probably one of the easier ways to do it. Another way is using observers, which is not a bad idea, but it can get expensive, and since this farm is already calling for 16 observers, I would fully understand if you did not want to do that. But since I have enough resources here, I'm going to go ahead and use observers to get that taken care of. So what we need is 2 observers. We are going to, where am I going to do? I want to place a block there. 1 observer, a block here with that redstone dust there. So what's going to happen, let me kind of get back up there and I will show you. We run 2 extra pieces of redstone dust over this observer, and when this farm fires, it will actually trigger that observer, which will trigger that observer, which will fire this redstone dust and powering this block. And demonstration time. Boom. I always forget this. It sends such a short pulse, it's not enough to move the minecart. So we want to send this to 4 ticks. That way it will actually send the minecart all the way around. Let's try that again. There we go. It sent a longer pulse. Now I believe 3 ticks will do it, but I always do 4 because on a couple servers I play, they get a little bit laggy. So we want that. So now we need to do the same thing from over here where that block gets powered. And we look good there. So now it did it just fine like that. It's going to go along and it will do that. Now make note, I have not mentioned this yet. Regular hoppers will not collect an item through a full block like this. Minecart hoppers will. If it is a half block, a hopper will work, but a full block you do require the use of a hopper minecart. So now that this farm is in essence built, the only thing left to do is to maximize efficiency, make sure all of the drops stay inside that, because it can be random where those sugar canes will fall when the pistons fire. Sometimes they could fall out here, which means the hopper minecart would not collect them. Now, I like doing this so I can still see my farms. So I'm going to get us a little bit of glass from my house, and I'm going to finish this off by putting glass up there so everything stays in, and I will be right back. And there we are. There is a fully enclosed sugarcane farm, automated, that has 16 sugarcane growing. So every time this whole farm cycles, it could receive us a maximum of 32 sugarcane, which is a half of a stack. Not a bad little sugarcane farm, and it could do even better when I stack another piece on top of it. I may or may not do that, just because this is a pretty big sugarcane farm. I know there are smaller and probably more efficient sugarcane farms, but this is a good little sugarcane farm. I like the way it works for me. But now we are going to move on to the melon and pumpkin farm. I'm only going to build one side of these because the way they work, they're the exact same. The only difference is instead of melon seeds, you use pumpkin seeds. Exact same thing here. But I'm going to get a small piece of this built and I will be right back. Here we have a big chunk of the first part taken care of. This is the collection mechanism for one side of it. This will be the melon side. Now the nice thing about this is melons and pumpkins are like normal crops, like wheat. They don't have to have water right up next to them. So this little bit of water will actually hydrate a good chunk of the farmland here. Okay, now that we have our water placed, we have to remember that pumpkins and melons are required to be placed on farmland. So let's go ahead and get our melon seeds out. We have the water placed, so we can turn this into farmland. And the way pumpkins and melons work is they require a block next to them so it can place the pumpkin there. The melon stalk is going to grow here, and then when it reaches full growth on the stalk, it's going to randomly put a melon here at the next spot. Or it could put it here, and I will be doing this alternating, kind of like this. That is why each side only gives us 4 melons or pumpkins. And this is why the pistons have to be alternating as well, because we don't want a piston to actually break the stalk. We only want it to break the actual melon itself. We're going to go ahead and place this birch plank here. Then we'll place the piston. Then we'll place another birch plank, another piston, and kind of repeat this pattern, guys. But remember, the pistons need to face regular dirt, not farmland. And then you can plant your melon seeds. Usually what I'll do is I will bone meal these melon and pumpkin seeds to where the stalk gets fully grown. You cannot bone meal and actually make the melon or pumpkin be produced. Once the stalk is grown, all it is a matter of time. But over here, what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and place a temporary block right here, and then I will place a piston there. Now, I'm not going to place a birch plank here because I want a piston facing the other direction. But I will just go ahead and place all of these. That way I can get the pistons placed. There we go. All of the pistons for the melon side of the farm are placed. So what we'll do now is we will place these here so I know where those have to go. And over here we can place the other side of the farm. And here is where we're going to place the alternating pistons. This does help conserve a little bit of space compared to past designs that I've done. May have not always been the most efficient, but I am trying to become more efficient when it comes to my redstone. And it will have another minecart track over here. Okay, now we have all of the dirt placed. We have the collection mechanism for both the pumpkins and melons taken care of here. And this farm is actually a lot smaller than I anticipated it. It's actually about 2 blocks smaller than I anticipated. So up here, remember, we want to have farmland, the area where a piston is not placed. So right there, there, there. Everything is now hydrated farmland, or it will be at least shortly. And over here, since we put our melon seeds here, now we need our pumpkin seeds. So let's go ahead and get these placed so they can kind of start growing. Now over here is where we do need to place the last bit of the pistons. We've got 4 more pistons to place. It's so good to have these farms slowly coming together. We will be getting some wonderful crops here very shortly. Birch plank, piston, birch plank, piston, birch plank, piston, birch plank. So there we go. We have all of our firing mechanisms here. Now we have to have a way to trigger this. And I'm going to tell you, you cannot trigger this with observers. In Java Edition, an observer will actually detect when the pumpkin or melon stalk grows the melon or pumpkin right here, because you put it on the stalk and it will kind of bend over a little bit. In Bedrock, though, because our redstone has to be way more complicated, it will not detect that. Okay, bone mealing the stalks. That is as high as the stalk will go right there. When it produces a melon, that stalk will bend over a little bit. An observer on Java would detect that. An observer in Bedrock does not. So that is why we have to get a little creative. I prefer the observer and daylight sensor method. And what we will do here, we will definitely need some birch planks to come over here, as well as over here. I am going to want a piece of glass, which I believe I have some here. And this gives me an opportunity to show you how glass works when you place redstone dust on it. So the redstone dust is going to travel that direction. And then we need another piece of glass right there, which will allow for the redstone dust to travel. Because we are definitely going to want a repeater going here, which I have some on me. Repeater. We are going to want the observer, and here is where we want the daylight sensor. Now the daylight sensor is exactly what it sounds like. It detects the change in daylight. When the light changes, the observer will pulse, and down here will come all of the redstone. So we are going to go ahead and place one more repeater here. So each one of these will trigger just like so. It will come down from that daylight sensor, and it will kind of split off into each of these 3 rows. And that is how it will fire the pistons. And it will fire them to break the pumpkins and melons. There we go. It should fire it all the way down here, which will trigger the 2 minecart sections here. And they will all repeat. So this will fire and activate the entire farm the entire time. Now I do it this way, so it sorts them. Over here is going to be pumpkins, over here is going to be melons. I like things to be nice and organized. As you guys know, I am a little OCD. So that is it. All we really have now to do is wait for everything to grow up, and it will work. This hasn't produced anything just yet. And a couple things I will suggest as far as optional but very important. Definitely light these farms up, because crops will only grow when there is a significant light source available. So we're going to get our torches out, which I have several here, and we are going to go ahead and come up here and light these farms up. But it's always a good idea to light up the surrounding area, because you don't want to come over here when it's almost night and mobs have spawned all over the place. The last thing you want to do when you're trying to come collect your melons and pumpkins is to have a bunch of zombies around. There we are. That ought to do okay. But that is it, guys. These farms are all done and dusted now. We have a sugarcane farm, we have a melon and pumpkin, and now I can show you this. That stalk bent over and that melon is there. So here, when it gets dark enough, or when it starts to get dark again, it will fire. And it looks like our sugarcane is not firing just yet. That will be it for this episode of Surviving Bedrock series. I apologize if it was a little bit long. It's the first time I've done redstone building on camera, a little tricky for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or ways I could have made these farms more efficient, please drop a comment. Let me know down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this and if this helped you. I appreciate everything, guys. Thank you again so much. Be sure to subscribe so you know when the next Surviving Bedrock series comes out. And be sure to check out the Minecraft Dungeons series, because later today, the Pumpkin Pastures video will be coming out. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Bye.